Have you ever received a tiny piece of constructive criticism, maybe a boss telling you to tweak a font on a slide, or a friend not replying to a text for 6 hours, and felt an actual physical pain in your chest, like you've been punched in the gut? Or maybe you felt a wave of hot, prickly shame so intense that you wanted to quit your job, delete your social media, or end the friendship immediately just to make the feeling stop? If that sounds familiar, I want you to hear me clearly. You aren't dramatic, you aren't too sensitive, and you aren't weak. You are likely experiencing Rejection Sensitive Dysphoria, or RSD. Hi, I'm Dr. Shauna. I'm a double board certified psychiatrist, and today we're talking about the most painful, hidden, and often most debilitating part of ADHD that almost no one discusses in the doctor's office. Make sure you stick around until the end because I'm going to explain the logic gap and why your brain literally cannot distinguish between a minor critique and a life-threatening rejection, and I'll give you a strategy to bridge that gap in under 60 seconds. RSD is an extreme emotional sensitivity and physical pain triggered by the perception, not necessarily the reality, that you have been rejected, teased, or criticized by important people in your life. It can also be triggered by a sense of failure or falling short of your own high standards. For people with ADHD, the nervous system is wired differently. We don't have an emotional buffer or a volume knob between the event and our reaction. It's an all or nothing response. When we feel rejected, our brain triggers the exact same neural pathways as physical pain. Your brain is literally telling your body that you are in mortal danger. This intense pain isn't just unhappiness. The word dysphoria comes from the Greek word for unbearable. For somebody with RSD, the feeling is so sharp and so sudden that it can feel like a psychic wound. Because this pain is so intense, many people with ADHD develop two main ways to protect themselves. The first is people-pleasing. You become a psychic chameleon, constantly scanning the room to figure out what people want so you can be that exact person. If you are perfect, if you are helpful, and if you never make a mistake, you can't be rejected. But this is a recipe for total burnout and a loss of your true self. The second protection mechanism is withdrawal. You simply stop trying. You don't apply for the promotion, you don't ask for the date, and you don't share creative ideas because the potential pain of a no is too high to risk. You would rather stay small and safe than risk the shame storm that comes with perceived failure. This is why so many brilliant people with ADHD feel stuck in their careers or their personal lives. They aren't lacking ambition, they're avoiding a level of pain that feels physically intolerable. The reason this happens is biological. In a neurotypical brain, when a critique happens, the prefrontal cortex, the logical center, acts like a filter. It says, okay, my boss wants a different font. That doesn't mean I'm a bad employee. But in the ADHD brain, that filter is often bypassed. The information goes straight to the amygdala, the alarm center. Before you can even think, your body is in fight or flight mode. Your heart rate spikes, your face gets hot, and you feel the urge to run or lash out. So how do we handle it? First, we have to acknowledge that RSD is biological, not a character flaw. You cannot think your way out of physical pain response while it's happening. In my clinic, we often find that certain medications like alpha agonists can actually lower the floor of that emotional intensity by quieting the overactive nervous system. It's like lowering the volume on a radio that's been screaming at you for years. Beyond medication, we use a tool I call tactical distraction. Because the RSD flare-up is a temporary chemical spike, usually lasting about 15 to 30 minutes, if you can distract your brain with a high-intensity, high dopamine task for just a short window, the physical pain will often subside enough for your logical brain to come back online. You might go for a sprint, play an immersive video game, or watch a video of your favorite hyperfixation. You aren't ignoring the problem. You are letting the chemical storm pass so you can actually solve the problem later with a clear head. It's also helpful to realize that RSD often creates fake memories. When you are in the middle of your shame storm, your brain will look back at the last 5 years and find every other time you felt like a failure to prove that you are indeed bad. I want you to label that. Say out loud, this is an RSD flare-up. My brain is lying to me right now. Labeling the feeling separates you from the neurological event. You aren't broken, and you aren't impossible to love. You just have a nervous system with a very sensitive alarm and a very deep capacity for feeling. When that sensitivity is channeled into things you love, it's your greatest strength. When it's turned inward, it's your greatest pain. Let's learn how to turn the volume down together. If this resonated with you, hit the like button and subscribe. It helps me to know which topics are helping you the most. I'm Dr. Shauna, and I'll see you in the next one.